So I'm cutting some pine, and like anybody who's cut any pine, you're going to see a lot of boring beetle larvae holes, or cutworm holes, some people will call them. Now for me and my purposes right now, that doesn't really matter a whole lot. I can fix this with latex, it's going to get painted, and I can use it. But for those of you who haven't seen the culprit, this is one right here. I think I might have hit it with the saw blade, and you can see it right here. Oh, I did hit it with the saw blade. So anyway, this is what they look like. This is the head of it, and it's cut off. And these, if you've got wood in your yard, and you'll hear all night long. It's these things, these little teeth on the front here. It's amazing what they can chew through. I think I got it on both sides. Let me see if I can find. Oh, there's another one over there. This wood is absolutely infested. So here's another one. And here's the other half of it. I sawed it in half, so it would have looked like this. And there's another one right there. Okay, and there's another one. Oh, this one's still alive. See if I can pull it out. No, I just killed it. Anyway, I don't care about killing them, but these are the things, they'll infest your wood like crazy. And here's another one right here. And I mean, this wood here, I'll use it with a few holes in it, but this one here, I don't know, I might have a place for it out in an outbuilding or something like that, but I don't mind repairing a hole or two. See, here's another one, okay? And it's boring beetle larvae, or ambrosia larvae. They got a few different names. Cutworms, you know. They're a lot like cutworms in the lawn. Here's one here that's kind of alive. And these little teeth here, if you can see, am I zoomed in on that properly? See this little teeth right here? This is what cuts through the wood. These are actually, they'll actually pinch you pretty good. If you can see that on there, if that focusing in on that, I can't really tell on this thing. And that head, they can chew through some pretty dense stuff. Now this is pine. Here's another set of teeth on right here. Okay, so if you're cutting your wood, and you'll see I got a bunch of pine cut here, and the narrow stuff is for ceiling boards, and the wide stuff is actually here is for in the closet walls in the cottage. And I'm gonna let this air dry a bit. This is, you know, actually this wood is not that wet, but it's, of course, when you're using the bandsaw mill, those of you that have used it, of course you use water to cut, and it wettens the wood a little bit, but it dries off fast. And you don't have to use water for a lot of woods, but pine is so sappy, I use soapy water. Otherwise the blade gets gummed up. So yeah, so all these now, like I say, these little culprits here, and I mean, they're hateful. I prefer when they're into firewood, and I just burn them. This is one of the worst logs I've cut in a little while. And your wood doesn't have to be on the ground very long for these guys to get in there. Like, they won't go into a live tree. But once the tree is cut down, they get in there very quickly. Now, what you can do, and you can see here now for the ceiling boards, I've been a little bit more selective, and there's a couple of holes in them, but and these boards are going to be painted. But even if they're not going to be, and you've got this type of lumber, you can't use it really for structural lumber when you've got this many holes in it. So I mean, you probably could, it'd probably be fine, but some inspector will give you a hard time for certain. But I mean, when you get enough holes in it, I mean, it's going to lose some of its structural integrity. But as far as a covering, you can use it, and I've used it quite a bit. And paintable latex, especially if you're going to paint it, but even if you're not, you can get light brown pine colored latex. And when the pine yellows, if you don't paint it, it's barely discernible from the rest of the wood, you know. And so you can patch these holes and just take your gun, your caulking gun, and squirt it in the hole and just rub over with your finger, and the hole's filled. And you do that to all the holes, and you can't really tell. And if you're going to paint it and you put the latex in and you paint over it, you really can't tell at all, unless you really indented it with your finger when you put it in. Like, you got to smooth it level, and so you can use it. But anyway, those are the little creatures. These little suckers here. If you haven't saw it before, if you've seen these holes in wood, these holes in wood. Here's another one. If you've seen these holes in wood, I mean, all the sawyers have seen this, I'm sure. Or if you've got firewood and you've heard that, especially at night when it's quiet. I mean, they're doing it all day long, and they don't have much. They don't have much in the way of predators. The only thing that I've ever seen that can go in after them, I mean, if they're not in too deep, the woodpeckers will get them. But when they get in the center of the wood, the woodpeckers don't really get at them, but ants will. Now, I mean, there's so many of them that the ants will go in and drag their ass out. But ants will go after anything. But you'll see here, like, these are going to be, I'm going to plane these, and I'm going to shiplap them, and it's going on a painted wall. And even if it wasn't, I'm just going to latex it. It's going to go in a closet. It's going to be painted a light color so that it's brighter in there. It's a darker closet, and you won't notice it. It'll be fine. I mean, if you're going to the store and you're buying premium wood, you don't want to see cutworm holes in it, but you never do them. They cut the trees down, they process them, they kiln dry them. They're not mucking around like I'm doing. I'm a poor fella, and I do all this myself, so I don't have to spend the money at the hardware stores. Are so Jesus expensive now. A piece of pine here in Canada, this size here, this is a 3/4 inch board. It won't be that big when I'm done with it, but once I plane it, it'll be about 5/8. It's 6.5 inches wide, and so when I put the laps in it, it'll be about 5 7/8, maybe a little less, 5 3/4 inches wide of exposed. And a board like this here now in Canada, this is 6 feet long, is about $12, or more than that, probably 15. I think it was $28 for a 10-foot piece, or at one of the local hardware stores here, Kent Building Supplies here in Atlantic Canada. And so, I mean, you know, it's just ridiculous. So I'm just not going to pay that. So I'm going to let these air dry a day or two, which a lot of people don't like the idea of, but you know, it works well for me as long as you keep an eye on the wood and don't let it twist in the sun. And if the pine boards are narrow, you can bend them in place pretty good anyway. But the cutworm holes, this was a log. I was hoping to finish up a bunch of stuff, and I actually, for myself here, I actually throw most of my slab wood, like the junk pine, not hardwood, but the junk pine in that, I can't give it away. I don't want it. I produce too much of it, so I make a little pile, and when the burning ban is left, I burn it. And I just have a little bonfire, and we come up here and stand around, and in the evening with my wifey, she likes that. And the hardwood stuff goes into the firewood pile, you know. But today, unfortunately, a lot of my pine had so many holes in it, it's gone into the fire pile too. And that's, of course, one way to stop the at night, is to burn the bastards. So anyway, all that to say, that's what a cutworm looks like for those pine boring beetle larvae, or cutworm we call them here. Same idea as a cutworm in your lawn. And if you put up the wall, they'll drive you nuts in the wall until they transform and get the hell out of there, because I know people that have done it. So if you see this in your wood, and you're going to put it in a house or a building somewhere, make sure you check the holes first to make sure you didn't leave one in there fully intact and alive. Because it's worse than having a mouse running through your attic until the bastard gets out of there. So anyway, I hope that you found that interesting. Cheers.